So the iPhone 11 has been out for a little while now, and even though I've been alternating between this phone and a couple of others, I wanted to go ahead and share with you what I think of it after using it for roughly 4 months. Now, this might sound as if I'm beating a dead horse here, because chances are you've heard of some of the things that I will be covering in this video, but still. The reason I'm covering those things today is just to highlight the if and how it affected my personal user experience during my ownership of the phone itself. Oh, by the way, if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's a huge boost to the channel, of course, and I truly appreciate your support during this YouTube journey. Now, I want to start with this point. For the average consumer out there currently looking into buying an iPhone or just a current generation iPhone, this is, in my humble opinion, what the average consumer should be going for. Don't worry about the 11 Pro or the 11 Pro Max. In terms of value, this is the one that they should be going after. Unless, of course, they truly like the 11 Pro or the 11 Pro Max and they want to go ahead and purchase that instead. The design and form factor are a perfect combo here. Believe it or not, you actually get the best of both worlds. You get a size right in between the 11 Pro and the 11 Pro Max. And of course, you get an iPhone signature design. I have huge hands and I find myself more comfortable with the 11 Pro Max here. But that's what I thought, because I'm actually more comfortable with this phone, with just the regular 11. And the kicker here is my wife, who has smaller hands, is just as much comfortable using this phone as I am. That tells you a lot about the role that the size plays here. Here's another reason why you don't necessarily need the Pro line iPhone. Performance. Meaning it's just as ultra fast and smooth as the iPhone Pro models, given that they're all sharing the same processing power, meaning snappiness, speed, performance, all of that is pretty much the same whether you pick up this phone or the Pro model, which of course translates into the same user experience across all of these phones, and RAM management is also the same. Now, in terms of how it relates to my personal use or experience over the past 4 months, I have noticed nothing different when I'm alternating between this phone and my Pro Max in terms of performance, as I just mentioned. Now, let's talk about the screen that everyone seems to be complaining about. It is, of course, the fact that the screen is sub 1080p, which I have to admit, it's kind of shocking that Apple is still doing that. But you have to remember that even though the screen is one of the few weak points of this phone, it is incredibly hard to tell the difference. Unless, of course, you have an iPhone 11 Pro Max or 11 Pro that you're putting side by side with this one in order to notice the difference. But then again, how many average consumers are out there buying this phone and then an iPhone Pro so that they could compare to see which screen is better? What I'm trying to say is that when you own this phone, which the average consumer is going to own just one of it, you can't tell the difference. The screen is just as amazing. Apple is doing a fantastic job making that screen very, very bright, so you can't really tell the difference. In terms of my personal use, I would notice the difference clearly because I have both phones and when I put them side by side and compare. Otherwise, I don't have anything to complain about. Essentially, it only really sounds bad on paper, but when you have the phone itself and you're playing with it, there is no bad experience. The biggest hardware change is the camera, of course. This is a drastic change compared to last year's camera. And I personally think that Apple did a great job at choosing just the wide angle and the ultra wide angle to put on this phone and just forget about the telephoto lens. I personally don't use that on my iPhone 11 Pro Max. But anyways, obviously the ultra wide lens and the portrait mode is just out of this world. Color accuracy is, in my opinion, the best on the market. Dynamic range is just amazing on here. It doesn't look over-processed at all, and it also takes fantastic 4K videos. So overall, camera here just does a fantastic job capturing plenty of details. Every now and then you might come across situations where the software may over-process some pictures, but generally speaking, it just does such a great job taking pictures and videos also. Now, the battery, it's definitely better than it was on the iPhone XR. Now remember, the iPhone XR had already a pretty good battery life. This one is better. Now I'm not saying that it's out of this world, but it's definitely very good battery. It provides, I'm getting about pretty close to 6 hours, let's say 5.5, 5:45, 5 hours and 45 minutes of on-screen time for sure. And of course, you have the ability to fast charge the phone if you have a fast charger. In my case, I do have a fast charger that came with my 11 Pro Max, so I could just use that to pump up that juice all the way back up to 100% really fast. So here's my take after using this for 4 months. It's a very well put together phone. You actually get kind of a premium feel to it. It may not be as premium as the 11 Pro, but it's still somewhat of a premium phone. Plus, you don't have to shed another $300 to get to the Pro model, where this one actually provides pretty close to everything that the 11 Pro or the 11 Pro Max provides. 4 months into it, it's holding on very well so far, and I enjoy using it every single time I pick it up and put my SIM card in it. It really has plenty of life left into it, and of course, Apple is going to be supporting this for a really long time. And it is, in my opinion, the iPhone that the average consumer looking for an iPhone, looking for a current generation iPhone, should be going for. Not the 11 Pro, not the 11 Pro Max. This phone right here provides all of the value that the average consumer would need. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget, of course, to like the video, subscribe, comment. I'm gonna catch you down in the comment section. I'm also gonna catch you in the next video. Peace.